Hey, Clark Covington here with Nick Campesi. Nick, how are you?
Great, Clark. How are you?
I'm doing great. Today, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the jellybean rubber mulch product and the financing that you guys offer. Can you tell me a little bit about jellybean rubber mulch to begin with?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, Jelly Bean Rubber Mulch is a pre-consumer virgin rubber product. This is a non-tire rubber mulch. It's 100% free of contaminants, and its initial use is the trimming off of a rubber play tile that is initially designed for kids to play on. So it's just a much cleaner product than other alternatives in the marketplace, and it's guaranteed to be free of contaminants, steel, and other nasty things that get stuck into rubber mulch. So just a much cleaner product.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so this product, it's a play surface. Do you finance the product? Is that correct?
We do. We offer the ability to spread the cost over as many as 5 years.
Okay, so is it a lease or a purchase or both? Can you explain that to me?
So for federal tax, U.S. tax regulations, it's actually structured as a dollar out lease. Now, you're buying the product and you're going to own it at the end. And it's just structured that way so for-profit entities can take advantage of accelerated depreciation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Makes total sense. And they can do that the first year, right?
That is correct.
That's excellent. So is this done through a third party or do you guys hold the note? How does that work?
It is. There's a third party that handles all of the paperwork and processing, and it's a really painless process. Usually we can have you approved in sometimes hours and have everything ready for sign off. And really, it's almost quicker than sometimes writing a check.
Wow, that's excellent. And it makes me think about who would be eligible for this kind of financing. Would it be municipalities like parks and schools or just for-profit entities, or how would that work?
So it's any commercial entity. So you can be nonprofit, for-profit. It could be a park. It could be a school district. It could be a local private school, even an HOA.
Oh, wow, that's excellent. So can you give me a use case or two on how the cost of a playground safety surface like Jelly Bean might be structured in a lease finance situation that you mentioned?
Certainly. So, a good example is a school that's tied in with a church that we recently were contacted by, and they wanted to redo their playground. They had been putting wood chips out every year, and they're spending a few $1,000s a year putting wood chips out. They're rotting. Kids have allergies to them, and they ultimately, are saying, "Hey, we got to upgrade to something else." And they get into the world of synthetics. And you're going to spend quite a bit more up front, but in the long term, a synthetic product like ours is going to be way, way more cost effective. Now, good example, they could ultimately, they could have written a check for 30,000, but they had other things they also had to repair around the church, and what they ended up doing was they just spread the cost out over 5 years, and so it was like $7,000 year one, 7,000 two, and it really was very close to the same amount of wood mulch that they were putting down every year. And the nice thing about our product is that in 5 years they own it and it's free and clear.
That's excellent. And what if, when you think about financing, you might think about how much it's going to cost. What if a buyer doesn't know how much it's going to cost? Would they be able to get in touch with you and you can kind of assist them to figure out how much surface they're going to need?
Absolutely. That's the start of everything is we identify how much area you need to cover, what's needed, and then we're able to give you a quote.
Okay, that's great. And I've asked this before, but let me ask it again. Would financing take away from any of the benefits that you enjoy by purchasing direct, such as your best-in-class 20-year warranty?
Not at all. Everything is covered 100%. Whether you finance, pay cash, write a check, credit card, it does not affect the product warranty.
Okay, that's excellent to know. Now, you mentioned earlier about a tax savings, and I know you're not an accountant, but give me an idea. If a for-profit, say daycare, might consider purchasing the jellybean play surface through this lease purchase option, what kind of tax savings would they receive, and when would that be?
So, a good example, and, a lot's changed in the tax landscape, and so we ultimately always say, you got to talk to the CPA. But, a very common deduction that a lot of businesses enjoy is, the Section 179 accelerated depreciation. And it allows you to depreciate the entire asset up front, sometimes even with a bonus. And so you could purchase the jellybean rubber mulch as a safety surface for your playground at the daycare, make the payment for year one, but actually write the entire amount off in year one. So it's almost nothing out of your pocket for into 2 years. It's free because you're going to enjoy the tax savings up front. And now ultimately it's going to depend on your unique tax situation that, once again, you have to consult with your own advisor. However, it really lowers the overall cost. And this is money that you would have been sending to the IRS anyway that you can put back into your business to help it grow.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's one of the biggest benefits. Even for some, might make sense to finance if they didn't even need to.
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you this. If a buyer's looking at a play surface like jellybean, and they're also looking at play equipment or other ancillary things that might go on a playground or near a playground, like fencing, so forth, can they bundle the financing in together with the equipment?
They absolutely can.
That's great. That's great. I've spent some time researching other play service manufacturers, and I don't see many offering financing. Why do you think that is?
There is some costs involved, and there's some administrative fees that we absorb, and we absorb it because we know that we have a wonderful product that's going to be a long-term good value for the customer, and for us, that's a cost of doing business to help people get involved with our product, because we know in the long run that they are going to be better off with a lower cost surface. And so it's just part of our overall market is to be able to get the number one objection that someone could ever say would be price. Hey, we know you have a great product, Nick. We know it's a better product than other safety surfaces we're looking at. However, if it costs a little bit more, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to swing it. Well, this completely takes that objection off the table.
Absolutely. And last question I've got for you. We talked a little bit about wood mulch. It's a very popular play surface. Give me an idea. Let's say over 5 to 10 years, the cost of, say, putting wood mulch in and having to replace it versus financing jellybean.
So, that 5 years is kind of a magic number. Sometimes it's less. Sometimes it's right there. I mean, we've had everywhere from 3 years to 5 years is kind of the payback on our period or on our product over a wood mulch product. Now, it's going to vary depending on, where exactly you're located. Are you using proper playground certified wood chips? That's all going to come into play on what the actual payback is. But it's usually under 5 years. And that's the beauty about our product is that you can install it, you make your payment, and then you got 15 years of warranty left on a safety surface that you would still be paying wood mulch every year. So, if you look at it over a 20-year period, wood mulch is 4 times as much or more cost than a jellybean product.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Look, I know every situation is unique for financing. Can people get a hold of you to talk more about it?
Absolutely. And, the best thing to do is to start out. You can request a quote on the website, or if you want to call us direct at any time, our number is 877-249-8818.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nick.
All right. Thanks, Clark.